Welcome to my new vlog on Kuala Lumpur. We reached KL at midnight and checked into the hotel. The next day morning, we started to the nearest monorail station. The plan was to reach the famous shopping mall, the Pavilion, to meet my father's friend, Uncle Martin, who accompanied us for the sightseeing. The first destination was the Batu Caves, which is one of the most prominent heritage sites in Malaysia. The place is adorned with a 42-meter tall golden statue of Lord Muruga and a holy pond at the foot of the hill. This amazing limestone hill comprises of 3 massive caves. There are 272 steps to reach the mouth of the cave. We were quite excited to see the interior of the cave upon seeing these very rare and beautiful limestone formations right at its entrance itself. The biggest one is the Cathedral Cave with a 100-meter high arched ceiling. The main Muruga temple inside the cave is around 100 years old. It is the focal point for the famous Thaipusam festival held usually at the end of Jan every year. The festival procession starts from the Sri Mariamman temple in the KL city centre in the evening and arrives at the Batu Caves by the next day morning, which marks the commencement of the colourful celebration. It is one of the largest gatherings in the world, with more than 1 million devotees attending this event. The interior of this cave looked spectacular with a variety of outstanding natural limestone formations. These formations are said to be 400 million years old and truly are a brilliant piece of art by Mother Nature. In Malay language, Batu means rock and hence the name Batu Caves. There is a large opening on the tall ceiling of the cave and it offers an awesome sight of the blue sky from the darkness of the cave. From there, we drove to the Tharan Madeka Square. This entire row of elegant cottage-like buildings next to this field is the Royal Selangor Club. The Tharan Madeka is a massive ground with a perfectly manicured green lawns and a flagpole at its center. The pole claims to be one among the tallest flagpoles in the world with a height of 95 meters, proudly displaying the Malaysian flag. It is a well-known historical landmark in the colonial core of KL, as it was here that Malaysia proclaimed Merdeka or independence on August 31, 1957 by lowering the Union flag hoisted during the colonial reign and erecting the Malaysian flag. This Selangor Club, built in 1890 by the British, was the favorite meeting point of elite members of British colonial society. On other side of this field is this St. Mary's Cathedral, which is one of the oldest Anglican churches in Malaysia. This beautiful landmark building, which was earlier the Selangor State Secretariat, built in an Indo-Saracenic architecture overlooking the square, is the Sultan Abdul Samad building. The key highlights of this building are the 3 shiny copper domes and the 41-meter tall clock tower, which is a replica of London's Big Ben. From there, we continued our journey to the Teen Hau Temple. This gorgeous 6-tiered Buddhist temple is one of the oldest and the largest Chinese temples in the Southeast Asia and a very popular tourist destination. On the way to the temple, there is a garden with statues of 12 animals representing the Chinese zodiac signs. The front entrance has a multi-arched gateway with red pillars symbolizing prosperity and good fortune. The temple courtyard presented a stunning view of the temple architecture and a very relaxing divine ambience. Its multi-arched gateways, pagoda rooftops, exquisite paintings, dragon carvings were truly a feast for the eyes. The temple showcases a beautiful blend of contemporary architecture with traditional designs with intricate embellishments, ornate carvings and murals. Worshipping in these kinds of Chinese temples comprises of making offerings to the gods, spirits and the ancestors. In its simplest form, it is done even by lighting the incense sticks. This extravagant prayer hall with impressive murals, ceiling arts with golden dragon motifs and other Chinese ornamentations houses 3 altars, dedicated to the goddess of Guan Yin, Mazu and Shui Vi. Interestingly, one side of the prayer hall had a booth for the popular stick-based fortune telling. It primarily includes a set of fortune sticks and a rotating cylindrical container with drawers storing several chits. We may pick a fortune stick and then find the chit predicting your fortune corresponding to the number inscribed on the stick from the cylindrical container. This temple, built on a hill, offers a fascinating sight of the busy Kuala Lumpur city from the peacefulness of this wonderful place. By then, it was noon and we had lunch from a nearby restaurant. After taking a short rest at Uncle Martin's apartment, we left to Putrajaya. Putrajaya is famous for its modern infrastructure spread over 600 hectares of land fringed by landscape parks, diverse jumble of buildings and elegant bridges. This Seri Saujana Bridge is one of the many bridges here. Its design is a unique combination of a symmetric cable-stayed structure and a through arch section. The through arch portion is similar to the Harbour Bridge in Sydney, Australia. This is yet another bridge named the Seri Gemilang, which is a ceremonial bridge with grand decorative towers trimmed with marble and gold. Many of these places here had been the shooting locations for quite a few Indian films. The main road over this bridge leads to the royal belt buckle shaped Putrajaya International Convention Centre. This is the Palace of Justice, which was shifted from the Sultan Abdul Samad building in the early 2000s. The building design is said to have influences of classical Islamic culture, Moorish culture, and even Western classical influence. Putrajaya is a part of the Multimedia Super Corridor project of the Malaysian government. The streets are elegantly designed with a European feel along with well-paved roads, while the government buildings are a blend of modern architecture with Islamic arts. All of these buildings run administration offices of many ministries. Much organization and planning have gone into the development of Putrajaya as a modern city with the latest communication technologies and progressive infrastructure. Kuala Lumpur is the largest city and the national capital of Malaysia, while Putrajaya is its administrative capital. Malaysia is a federal constitutional elective monarchy. The system of government is modelled on the Westminster parliamentary system, which is a legacy of British rule. The head of the state is the king. This beautiful complex belongs to the Ministry of Finance. The king is elected for a 5-year term by and from among the 9 hereditary rulers of the Malay states. The king's role has been largely ceremonial since the changes to the constitution in 1994. We reached the Putra Bridge and stopped the car for some time. This is the longest bridge and a popular spot for wedding photos. We got an excellent view of the lake, the Putra Mosque, and the Putrajaya city from there. Later, we continued to the final destination, which was the Putra Square. This circular Putra Square, with 300 meter in diameter, is mainly bounded by Pardana Putra at the far end and Putra Mosque. This square is very popular and the most visited landmark in Putrajaya. This Pardana Putra complex, designed in the Islamic Mughal architecture overlooking the vast Putra Square, houses the Prime Minister's office. Constructed with rose-tinted granite, the Putra Mosque is arguably Putrajaya's most distinctive landmark and one of the most modern mosques in the world. We had some interesting conversations with the locals wearing the traditional Malay costume and then returned to the hotel, ending the eventful day. On the second day, we took the KL monorail to the city center. The plan was to visit the iconic skyscraper, which is the Petronas Twin Towers. From the monorail itself, we could see a glimpse of the magnificent piece of engineering at a distance. Just beside, we could also spot the KL Tower too. We got down from the monorail and hired a taxi to reach the Petronas Tower. KL is one of the fastest growing metropolitan regions in the Southeast Asia, both in infrastructure and economic development. We reached the Petronas Twin Tower. This is a busy traffic hub and surrounded by many other big skyscrapers of several other commercial establishments. The tall 451-meter twin tower with the glazing steel and the glass facade, the sky bridge connecting two towers and an aesthetically designed fountain at its bottom was really a wonderful sight. This rich green cover also adds to its striking ambience. We took the ticket for the tower observatory deck, but the slot obtained was around noon. So we decided to see the famous aquaria located on the concourse level of the Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre, or the KLCC, which is said to be one of the largest aquariums in Southeast Asia. Starting with Jewels of the Jungle section with a variety of reptiles like python, iguana, etc., we entered the marine world. This is the electric eel. They can generate a shock of up to 860 volts and up to 1 ampere of current. It has got 3 pairs of abdominal organs that can produce electricity. They use low voltage to sense the surrounding environment and high voltage to detect prey and separately stun them. This is the red-bellied piranha fish. Its mouth has got rows of razor-sharp triangular teeth which can cut its prey within seconds. They are generally found in the lakes and rivers in South America. Though there are many scary stories on them even devouring human swimmers, scientists believe that this fearsome reputation is just an exaggeration. This marine world is quite mysterious, and we continued exploring it through these dark corridors. Some of the pools are marked dangerous for putting hands inside. This is a touch pool where we can touch and feel the texture of many sea creatures like the live corals, starfish, horseshoe crab, etc. This 90-meter transparent tunnel with travelator is one of the key highlights of the aquaria, submerging us beneath several thousands of gallons of seawater surrounded by incredible deep-sea inhabitants, giving us a wonderful glimpse of the magical world of multifaceted sea. It was really exciting to see the people swimming along with these giant creatures and feeding them. These gigantic sharks, stingrays, sea snakes, tortoises, what we see through this glass lens, are actually only 1/3 of its original size. The aquarium also runs a diving with sharks program where we can get up close and personal with tiger sharks, stingrays, and many more. But, of course, after signing the liability waiver. This aquaria with these mysterious and sometimes menacing sea creatures is one of the country's foremost sightseeing attractions with real depth and complexity. By the time we completed exploring the colorful world of the deep sea, It was time for us to go up to the 86th floor observation deck of the Petronas Tower. This 88-floor skyscraper is still the tallest twin towers in the world. The day was very cloudy, but still got an exquisite view of the Petronas Twin Tower and even the KL Tower behind that. The view of the city beneath was also an exceptional one. These towers are designed based on a Rab el Hizb, which is an Islamic symbol in the shape of an octagram represented as two overlapping squares, but with circular sectors added to meet office space requirements, and these circular sectors are similar to the bottom part of the Qutub Minar. After spending some time at the observation deck, we climbed down to the 41st floor, which connects the two towers with a glass sky bridge. It was truly a scary and a rare experience standing on the narrow glass sky bridge. This tower is in fact the headquarters of Petronas, which is a famous Malaysian gas and oil company. After this, we had the lunch from the mall in the tower and continued our journey to the next destination, which was the KL Bird Park. The KL Bird Park is claimed as the world's largest covered bird park and is home to more than 3,000 birds from 200 species all over the world. About 90% are local birds and 10% were imported from other countries such as Australia, China, Holland, Indonesia, New Guinea, Tanzania, and Thailand. It is a 20-acre public aviary divided into multiple zones. Most of its birds are free and accustomed to being around people. In the bird park, we had a very exciting opportunity to take photographs with the eagles, hornbills, and macaws. Located in the Pardana Botanical Gardens, this park is one of the most peaceful locations in the entire city that entices every nature lover with green grasslands, landscape gardens, waterfalls that make it a tropical paradise. From there, we left to the Central Market and later to the Chinatown, ending our 2 wonderful days in KL. Thank you for traveling with me. Please also watch my other travel vlogs. The links are given in the description below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And please click the notification bell to get more videos.